Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm pretty excited for tomorrow. So today right now is Wednesday and I got an invite to Stern's media event for King Kong. So you're probably wondering, who is this guy? Maybe if you have subscribed to the channel. I stopped doing YouTube content a couple years ago, but been doing events here and there with some friends. And this time, because of Kong inviting me to a Stern media event during Pinball Expo in 2024, I got into their mailing list. So when they sent out the invites to all the media content creators, they sent it to my personal email address, which is what I gave them when I was doing the factory tour sometime last year. So I'm going to Kong. They sent out the email and said anyone who wants to come is in part of that invite list. They can. So I was able to take some time off work and flew over from Des Moines to Chicago. It was only about an hour flight. So I'm here at a hotel. Gonna stay for 2 nights. Gonna go to some nice restaurants. I'm here by myself, but I'll be checking out King Kong, the myth of Terror Island, and I'd love to get my first thoughts on this pinball game. Now, I've thought about it a little bit. Is this going to be Keith Elwin's next masterpiece? And the honest truth is, nobody knows yet. Like, no one can really predict the future. How can you know if the game is going to be successful? Now, it's been said that Keith Elwin basically has made amazing games time after time. Probably lowest on the list is the Avengers game, the Infinity Stone Gauntlet one. Now, I do enjoy that game. It's a lot of fun. It's got an upper flipper with a ramp that you can make up, and I don't know the rules really well. We do play it at our local tournament, and it's the one that I can do okay in, but I usually don't get first place on that particular game. And some of the other games I absolutely love. Iron Maiden is a favorite of mine. Godzilla is fantastic. Jaws, one of my favorite games of all time. And then we got King Kong coming out. Oh, and I can't forget Jurassic Park. Masterpiece. Just absolutely fun. Amazing game. So will Keith Elwin's King Kong be amazing? I don't know. I thought about the content that I was going to make for tomorrow, and so far I've thought of this idea of, is it busy or is it packed? And so those are terms that are, people say, even if you're not into pinball, you might hear someone say, oh, that game is really busy. There's a lot going on. But there's a fine line between busy and packed. So packed would mean it's just got a lot of toys in it, so it has a lot of value. And so when Keith and the team at Stern are making this new King Kong, did they consider that making the artwork busy and having a lot of toys on it could make it feel busy or packed? And which one is it? Busy to imply that it's got too much going on and I don't even understand it. Or packed in, oh, it's got so much, it's so great. Which one is it going to be? Is it going to be somewhere in between? I was thinking about what makes Elwin games great. It's usually this combination of theme, great art, a layout that's just fantastic, shots that are fun to play, fun to make, having the right mechanisms, having that wow factor, and then the code. The code has got to be great. Now, what's interesting is there's a wide spectrum of Keith Elwin games. Think of like Iron Maiden. This one is where I like the artwork. It's pretty good. It's not the best artwork on any pinball game. And the theme is not really for me. I never was an Iron Maiden fan. It's just music that I never really listened to. But the game is so great. That middle ramp, the Newton ball, it's got 3 flippers, or is it 4 flippers? I'm not really sure. It's like, no, there's 2 at the bottom and then 1 on the right. And there's just fun shots to make. You enter some modes and hit those ramps, I usually go to Spell Mummy a lot, try to get some multi-balls in. I never really got good at the skill shot where you make it all the way to the left out lane. I think you get like 20 million if you do that. But that's an interesting game where it's a lot of fun. It has a linear progression that's pretty decent. There's a lot of different things you can do. It's a lot of fun to play in a tournament. It scores well. You know, if you don't do very good, maybe you'll get a few million. You do all right, you'll get into that 10 or 20 million. You do really good, at least thinking about the tournaments that I play, 100 million, 500 million. Those are pretty common scores from great players at tournaments. And maybe once in a while you'll see someone like hit in the upper 900 million or maybe even a billion. And these are just, in my area, those are fantastic players. We only have a couple that can reach that, every now and then on a tournament. So here's a game that's just really, really great. But the theme itself, it's not for everyone. I guess you could probably say that about any game. But then you go over to Jaws. Jaws is another interesting one, where yes, it's got the 3 flippers, but it's kind of this fan layout. And some people say fan layouts are, it's like maybe cheap or something. But the theme integration of Jaws is just phenomenal. The movie scenes, the clips, the modes, and how they integrate each different mode to the different types of shots that you'll see in the game. And then the shots are just challenging enough, but something that even a new player, I've played with a lot of new players to Jaws, and they can figure out the game pretty quick, especially if they've been playing for a while. And then maybe you'll give a hint to some other people that have never played it and they aren't catching on. They're like, oh yeah, I do this and that to get into a multi-ball and start a mode. Oh, Jaws is a lot of fun. I've never really talked to anyone that absolutely hates the game Jaws. Only people that haven't played it very much and say the theme doesn't really speak to them. But as I've gotten to know more people, and then when I see them play Jaws for the first time, or maybe after 10 times in a tournament, usually I'll see them go, man, Jaws is great. Exciting, really fun, a lot of cool things in it. And Godzilla is another one that's interesting. Now, I didn't play Godzilla when it first came out. I ended up purchasing Godzilla later after it already become popularized as one of the best games of all time. And I was thinking about that. It's kind of an interesting notion. This idea that there's a community of people that all agree that this game is very valuable. It keeps its value high. A lot of people say that the game is very fun. It reminds me of stock. It's like stock is only worth what people are willing to pay for it. And then the perceived value of a company can go up and down based on their reputation or hints that the company's not doing well because of a situation, or they predict that the company won't perform well due to different things. And here we are, Keith Elwin, King Kong. Who's to say the game is going to be good? Not very many people have played it yet. And even when you do play it, a single person may say, yeah, I really enjoyed the game. But how long have you played the game? On the flight, I was thinking about this. Think about a new movie that just came out. You go to the theater and you see the movie and you come out and you're like, that was the best movie ever. I gotta tell all my friends about this amazing movie. And then you kind of look online and no one else is going to see this movie. It wasn't marketed well, and not everyone agrees with you that it's the best movie of all time. And so the movie kind of goes into obscurity and you remain like, man, that game was great. Then there's other epic movies, Star Wars, Batman, where I remember when I was a kid, different movies would come out, like say the 1989 Batman, and everybody was talking about it. You'd go see it on opening weekend and the theater was packed. The anticipation of that movie being great was perceived. Even before the trailers came out, everyone went to see it. Now, if you think about a movie, that's something that typically will hit a mass amount of theaters at any, in a single weekend. And everybody has the opportunity to go find out if that movie is great. Then there's other movies that don't hit very well at the theater, and they become cult classics. And over time, people, as they go see it, start to appreciate the movie and going, man, even though that movie didn't do great when it first came out, it became something amazing because eventually a community of people kind of said, man, that is a great movie. So going back to pinball and King Kong, this is an interesting situation if you think about it. King Kong is not a movie. Well, it was, but the King Kong pinball game is not a movie. Not everyone's going to have access to play it like this weekend, like you would say in a movie. It's kind of more of a slow rollout. As King Kong, the pinball game, the Stern game starts to hit different arcades, more and more people will go to experience it. Or as it goes to different conventions and gaming conferences, more and more people get to play the game. And as the results come in, people will start to say, man, that game shoots really great. It's really, really fun. You have to check it out. It's kind of like a movie. And so my analogy, my point is, you can't really tell if King Kong is going to be a hit just by one person's opinion. It could be like me going to a movie that's not popular, it doesn't have a lot of marketing in it, and I say, well, that was a great movie. There's a lot of time travel movies that I really love, but they're not very popular. So it could be the case that tomorrow I go to Stern and I go check out King Kong, and I kind of have a plan, like I want to try different shots. The first shot I want to try is straight up the middle in that center ramp. And I want to see how much power it takes to get up that ramp. Is it a fun shot to make? And then what happens when you shoot that, you shoot the ball, but maybe with not a lot of power? Is it going to go straight down the middle? How easy is it to save that ball? And then as you go throughout, like how difficult is it to get the ball, cradle it again? How long does it take to figure out how to get the ball to go from the left flipper to the right flipper if you want to swap it? And what are the setup shots? Like what are the shots that you need to be able to hit the helix shot, the helix ramp? What do you have to do to set that up? And what about on the play field, all the different targets that are kind of like a ladder? How does that work? When I think of the game Jaws, the progression of that game is just absolutely fun. Going after beachgoers and rescuing them and getting into some wizard modes, that's a part of Jaws that I absolutely love. But along the way, you can start these different modes. And I'm wondering if King Kong will be like that, where you're kind of have this overall objective. And I've heard the interview of Keith Elwin from the Loser Kid podcast, and it sounds like Keith was saying that that's what it's doing. Like there's this objective that's throughout the entire game that you're trying to make that unlocks wizard modes. How difficult is it to kind of light those up, and get them solid? Is there any bonuses? Do you cash out? What is the story about? Do you play as an individual trying to help King Kong? Is King Kong the enemy? Because they kind of made their own little story on it, their own little spin. And there's this other perceived notion about King Kong that I think is pretty interesting. This, to my memory, is the first pinball game that Stern has made in recent history that's not a licensed theme. King Kong is a public domain theme, and they based this off the book, which gives them the latitude and the access to be able to, build out their own story for their own game, and technically it's unlicensed. And Keith Elwin described this as being both good and bad. They're not really working with a licensor, but they're also not getting any content. There's no movie clips that they're basing any of this on. So straight away, if you compare this to the big Godzilla game that everyone loves, one of the things that makes it awesome is the campiness of the original movie, scenes while you're playing it, mixed with some good animations. And that's just one piece of it. There's so much to a pinball machine that makes it great. It's not just one thing, but it's how they integrate that all together. But one thing's for sure is this will not have any movie clips in it. It's just animations. Now, did they make up for that by bringing in Quinn from Impractical Jokers? and make it funny, make it campy in its own different way. Is he playing one of the characters in the game, or is he just like a narrator? So, and how they mix in the sound effects and the music and get the timing right with the game that you're actually playing, all of that comes together to make it a great game. So some people may look at King Kong and say it's super busy or it's packed, but the fact that whether it's busy or packed, that's just one piece of what makes a game great. A game could be horrible if it has bad code. A game could be horrible if you constantly hit post and it's brutal and you're draining constantly, so you don't have that mix of challenge and satisfaction. A game could be horrible if you just don't like it. Your opinion is probably the thing that is most important. But when you hear from other people, when you hear opinions from other people, that can give you a good indication if you could continue trying the game out. Maybe you don't like it right away, but if a whole bunch of other people say it's great, you might give it another shot. You might keep on going to the arcade and play it over and over again. That was my case with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Stern. That game came out in 2020 and I never really liked it. It was super brutal. It was a game that I would go to and I didn't understand the rule set. And even as I was playing in tournaments, I would get a little bit better, but I really didn't understand the rule set of the game. I didn't understand the objective of what I'm exactly trying to do. And the shots just seem really brutal. But I like buying brutal games, so recently I did pick up Teenage Mutant Turtles, the Premium Edition. So many people were telling me how great that game was, and they had it in their collection and they don't regret buying it. And brutal games often make you a better player. And this is a game that I wanted to sink my teeth into because as I got past the barrier of just being able to play somewhat okay at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I really started to enjoy it. Now that I've had it for only a few weeks, I've learned how to hit the right ramp shot pretty basically anytime I want. And that totally changes. If you have a shot that's originally very difficult to get, and then all of a sudden you can nail it anytime you want, that really opens up the game to a lot of possibilities. My secret, by the way, is backhanding it with the right flipper. Never tried that before. Seems so obvious now. You get the angle just right. Or another game that's super brutal, The Mandalorian. Another game that I owned and I chipped away at, and I think I got a lot better at it. Definitely wasn't very good a couple of years ago in the tournaments. And now I can get a few 100 million, pretty commonly in that game. But where will King Kong be? Is it going to be a brutal Elwin game? Where is it going to fall in the list of all the Keith Elwin games that are out there? Is it going to be down there with a lot of people consider the Avengers game to be maybe his lowest tier game? Or is it going to be higher like the Jaws and Godzilla's Jurassic Parks? Only time will tell. I'll do a review on this video tomorrow. I'll do a review of King Kong. I'll film it tomorrow. Give you my impressions of what I think of the game is. But keep in mind, it's just my opinion. I'm really interested to see what kind of the collective opinion is over time. People that post on Pinside. What is the game code level at? That can also ruin a game. If Stern puts out code that's super buggy and it's just not fun to play, but later becomes fun to play, man, it takes a while for that game to be recognized by many as a game that actually is pretty good. People can have a really bad first impression of a game if the code's just not quite ready. James Bond comes to mind as a game that a lot of people didn't really enjoy when it first came out. I thought it was a lot of fun, but it was pretty hard. And then as the code developed, it got very exciting, and I love James Bond. But, even me, it took a little bit to warm up to it. And I think a lot of people are warming up to that game now. But there's some people that probably totally missed out on the game because of that first impression. An analogy I like to use is, someone who goes to a restaurant, they really love the restaurant, and then they get food poisoning from the restaurant. They never want to go back there again. And some people give that restaurant a shot again and be like, man, it was a great restaurant. I just had one bad experience. But some people have a bad experience and they just never go back. I just hope that everyone gives things a chance, especially over time. Give things a chance again. That's what I like to do. So where will King Kong be? Even if my initial experience of King Kong is horrible, I'm going to keep pumping $1 into that game. We'll likely get one at our local arcade. We usually pick up all the cornerstones at the local arcade. There's 2 of them that basically every Cornerstone Stern game that comes out, they end up getting. And then we have a launch party for it. So I hope that's the case this year. Our arcade did change hands to a new owner, and he guaranteed he was going to get 2 Stern Cornerstones every year, but they already bought 2 Dungeons and Dragons, 1 for each arcade. So did they use up their Cornerstone funding for the whole year? I don't know. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, me just kind of at the hotel ranting for a while, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you on the next one.